All right, we are live. AT&T Pebble Beach, DFS first take. First signature event of the year, Brian. I'm pretty excited about it. And there's a lot of Phoenix stuff that I want to talk
Yes.
about as well, because that was a really interesting event. Did not end up being a good event for me by the
No,
end. It looked good for a little bit.
no, I would
Um,
say
well,
it,
well, we'll talk about all that because I want to talk about some of the decision-making process around Sheffler, what you actually needed last week, and what we got wrong. And that will correlate to, I think, some of the interesting topic pieces this week around Scheffler as well and the golf course that we have. So let's start off with, what were your big takeaways from Phoenix last week?
I love this golf course so much. I think it's great every year. I think it's not the hardest golf course in the world, but it has really good closing stretches with high leverage shots, and we saw that with Thor Bjornsson. Like, even 16 at times, it's a pretty ho hum par three, but he got nervous and he hit it.
He,
What, I don't know
he
how many
was,
yards too far he
yeah.
landed it, but it was a lot.
Brian tweeted this, but Thor was standing on 16T at 17 under par with a drivable par four coming up, and he didn't get into a playoff at 16 under.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
if you had Thor too. I know apparently everybody in our Discord just bet Goddard up. Like
Everybody got the 60.
50 people just bet Goddard up in our Discord. I must have missed that memo. Like
Yeah, I didn't get the memo
I
either.
loved Goddard up. We talked about Goddard up plenty. Wasn't on my outright card. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. I think this is a better golf course for pro golf in its current form than TPC Sawgrass. Now,
It
that
yeah,
has everything to do with the firmness, right? Like TPC Sawgrass, it's just really difficult to get firm in Florida with the humidity, whereas there's like way less humidity in the desert. The No Laying Up guys were talking about this morning about how like the lack of humidity in the desert gets that golf course always super firm, whereas TPC Sawgrass, the overseed, doesn't really react to the heat in the same way. So you don't get that firmness that you see that you were talking about with Thor, where the margins are so slim. And it's like the 16th hole on the surface, pretty like straightforward 160-yard par three, right? But if you put that pin on the right corner, you have like a 1 yard margin for error. Like where if you land the ball 2 yards long on the green from your landing spot, you're cooked and you're staring bogey in the face. And that's what happened to Thor. And that's basically what we asked for in our golf courses. I don't think you're going to get that at Pebble this week. I'm not going to do a whole thing on like the current presentation of Pebble Beach, the mowing lines, and just it's such a good golf course to like learn about why the golf ball rollback is important, because it's like
yes.
one of the most iconic, probably the second most iconic recognizable golf course in the world. And it does not play to the way that the architect originally intended for 2025 pros. But we talk about how we could potentially use that to our advantage this week in DFS.
Yes, definitely. I am very nervous about what they're going to do to this course at a US Open. I don't love going there for US Opens, but that's another
I
conversation
don't like it at
entirely.
all. Yeah.
It's just not I Yeah, you can make it firm in the summer and stuff like that, but I don't know. Like, I don't think it's challenging enough. I think they have like such a good rotation of courses otherwise, and I know it's a different conversation, but um, yeah, I'm just going to lean into the fact that the other courses they have are better
Well,
for U.S. Open.
if my sources are correct, it is going to be a playoff event in 2027 in August. So hopefully that will help. But anyway,
That'll give us a free look at how it's going to go. Sorry, that's going to give us a free look at how it's going to play in
right.
that time of year, kind of, sort
Right.
of.
So let's put a bow on Phoenix by talking about the lineup that we build every week. I love looking back at this lineup and thinking about how my thoughts have changed when it's just kind of like our first look thoughts versus once we digest the projections and everything. I'm going to say that Burns was maybe my like a very
That was me.
it wasn't though. Like I'm very honest with you when I will happily overrule a player if I'm like, no, can't go in the lineup. Not only did I not do that, I didn't play Burns in DFS, but I bet a 35 because I just thought that that was a good number
It is a good
for a
number.
guy that, well, you can't really say he wins that much anymore. He used to win more than his number on a golf course that he's played really well at in the past, um, and showed some signs that I really liked at the Amex. He didn't even give the cut, like he didn't even sniff it. He didn't even give it a taste. He wasn't even
Nope,
he had
not
zero
interested.
interest in staying there this weekend. And that's kind of been the story of my DFS this year. Like a lot good and some like excruciatingly bad misses. And Burns tanked. I think you were gonna have needed a little bit more in this lineup. We had the winner in this lineup. You probably needed a little bit of a better performance out of Davis Thompson and John and Kiefer. But I also, I know we were deciding between Harris English and Jake Knapp, and you were more on the Jake Knapp side, and I was more on the Harris English side. And not that Harris was bad, but if you're talking about, I think we finished right outside the money, even with the winner. Wasn't impossible to cash with the winner, even if you had a 5 of 6, based on how good Goddard was. But you needed to nail those like Knapp versus English decisions.
Yes, and I would say for this lineup specifically, um, you could cinch this in one or two places, and it's probably very, very, very good. Like you didn't have to do much. Like you really could have dropped Davis Thompson down to something, and then got Siwoo in for Burns, which is another one I think we were talking about.
That's what I was gonna say is like the so many like dumb mistakes by me last week. One of them being I played Siwoo in DFS, but like we got on here last week and we're like, Hideki is the most obvious play on the slate, and that's why you can't play him. Okay,
That
great.
hey, and
Like great thinking. Like he checks all of the boxes that you're looking for, is going to be high owned, and that's when Hideki usually fucks you. Well, not this time. Not
no,
this time.
he
He
just
ended up being a great play.
he didn't want to take his ball and go home the week I faded him and put him as my fade on the sheet. When he did want to go take his ball home is the week after he won St. Jude recently.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not going to sit here and say you plan on that, but when somebody's popular, and I know people have been playing this longer than I have, Louis, Kevin Na, those like they are a threat to withdraw. I
It's
don't
a
care what
it's a
anybody
death
says in
trap.
the
Not
cards.
even just like a threat to withdraw. Like I wasn't worried he withdrew. It was just like it felt like a natural sell high point on
Yes.
Hideki, and that was paralysis by analysis. That was he was a great
Overthinking.
play, and Ben Griffin.
Probably shouldn't have gone there, but
I
he's fine. All right.
I don't know. Like again, for example, I think Davis Thompson and John Kiefer, who are both core plays for me, and this has been happening a lot for me. Like I got my core through, all four made the cut, but Davis Thompson, John Kiefer, and JT Poston all finished like T45 ish. And those core plays at the bottom for me, usually I'm a little bit better about getting those in the top 10 or the top 20. I don't hate our line of thinking at the top outside of the Hideki thing. Connor mentions in the chat, Davis Thompson lost me a lot of money. Me too. I had a big top 20 on him, and he was a core play for me in DFS. And he really was abysmal over the weekend.
You can't be
But
273. Not going to do it.
right, T73 not going to do it. But what was interesting to me is I looked at T Days 25. We'll talk about that. I've been thinking about that a lot too, in terms of what data golf is factoring. And this is one of the more like off from data golfs I've been for a while. And I'm not super afraid about it. We have great people in the Discord that I talk to. I was like fact checking it with Lax. Like, why are these guys that like I really like negative value plays, and why are these guys that I don't make sense? And like I can get to it a little bit more, but I think Henley's fine. I actually
Yeah,
quite like him. Anyway,
me too.
so the Scheffler thing,
Didn't work out for anyone.
he was not in. I went through the $100 single entry and the $18, excuse me, the $10 18 max. Not quite like a massive lotto GPP, but a big contest with thousands and thousands of players. There's not a single Sheffler lineup in either the top 20 of the $100 single entry or the top 20. I'm sure there were some sneaky ones that got through in the lotto, maybe into the top 20, but it seems like the contest that you played, you couldn't have had, you couldn't have had Sheffler and won serious money last week, at least in the contest that I looked at.
The most correct thing that we said last week, regardless of I cored Sam Burns, so I'm going to eat crow on that one. But I think the best thing that we said last week is exactly what this lineup did well, except for one player, which is to say we grouped a bunch of guys that you just could not play with Scheffler.
Right.
And if the slate breaks your way,
Including Goddard.
Yes. Goddard was you probably could play it. You really couldn't actually play
I didn't
much
even
above Spieth at all.
Yeah. Trust me, I didn't see any lineups with Goddard and Scheffler in them together. I'm
It's too
sure
hard
those
because
existed, maybe, but
yeah.
not that I saw. Then they might have been a 2 of 6 based on how much salary you left yourself remaining. The point is, and here's the key distinction, because this can transition us into talking about what to do with Scheffler for Pebble Beach. When Sheffler is that price, for it to work off, there's something very specific that needs to happen. The 6 and 7K range need to have enough guys finishing. I'm not even going to say the top 20, in the top 40 of that tournament. And you cannot have such a robust, it's technically two things that need to happen. You need to have the sixes and sevens. Enough of those guys need to finish in the top 20 and the top 40. And in exchange for that, what range that needs to hurt is the 8s and the 9s. And that happened to a T at Amex, and the opposite happened at Phoenix. If you look at not just the winner of the golf tournament, but all of the guys that contended in that golf tournament to win, it is guys in the high 7s, in the 8s, and in the 9s. It's Siwoo, it's Hideki, it's Nikolai Højgaard, it's Jake Knapp. All of those guys, it's Goddard up winning, right? I'll pull up the leaderboard in a second here, because there are a lot more of them. And like outside of Kevin Roy, there weren't, it wasn't a random, there weren't a bunch of random 6K guys that finished high enough for you to make that happen, right? And so the decision that you're going to have with Scheffler every week, the thought process that you almost need to have with Scheffler is not, is Scheffler going to win the golf tournament or finish T3? It almost doesn't matter, right? Like he's anti-variance. Like he's going to finish first or third, whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's not how much. That's a good point, Stat ATL. Bhatia was up there at 69. You needed a couple more though. Bhatia was the nuts though. Good call, Stat.
Yes, Bhatia was the nuts.
But again, it's almost not what Scheffler does. The question that you need to be having with yourself every week is, do I think this is a golf course that randomness can happen? Or do I think that this is a golf course that's going to be dominated by the 8s and 9s? And that's a question you need to ask yourself every week. And retrospectively, when you look at the Amex, the perfect answer to that question was, it's the 6s and 7s. That's a perfect golf course for those guys to dominate. And a lot of people probably said, well, it's variance packed. We shouldn't play Scotty Scheffler. And it's like, no. Scotty's anti-variance. You don't think about variance with Scotty Scheffler. What you have to think about variance with is everybody besides Scotty Scheffler, right? And so Phoenix, we talked about more. That's a golf course where it's going to be harder for the 6s and 7s to separate. You're going to get a lot of good players at the top of the leaderboard. A lot of great guys are playing great golf. Goddard, Siwoo, Hideki, all these guys in great form in the 8 and 9 that you can't play in Scheffler lineups. And so that's the question. That's the conversation that you need to be having each week. And it's interesting to talk about with Pebble. Sorry for rambling
You're
there,
not
but
ranting. That's probably better than I've ever seen it put. And I'll just add one thing. It's a salary based game. Okay, so it there are just they are finally making the price efficient to where did I freeze? No. They're making the price efficient to where you really have to make choices and you have to make cuts. They weren't making that expensive last year or the year before. It's finally getting to a point where players are pausing. And so I'm very curious to see where ownership ends up.
he's not the number one value play in data golf this week for the first time this season. Okay, here's the thing about Pebble Beach that I talked about in the preview. Very high variance golf course on the surface, right? A lot of reasons why Pebble Beach has a high variance score, right? Which is kind of correlated inversely with the slope that they show on data golf. And like an average slope, and when I say slope, I mean how easy is it for better players to separate? TPC Scottsdale hovers a little bit over one's the tour average. Last 3 years at Pebble, it's been like 0.7, 0.6, 0.5. Tons of variance on this golf course. Tons of wedge shots, POA putting, weather, rain, less than driver, devalued off the tee. Like all these reasons why it's a perfect variance golf course. So you're probably saying to yourself, harder for Scotty to win. Is it harder for Scotty to win based on that theory than like Memorial or Shinnecock or Augusta? Yes.
I think so.
But here's the problem. Here's the problem there is, again, you can't think of variance with Scotty Scheffler. You have to think of variance with everybody else. And so is this a golf course that is going to induce more randomness, and it's going to be easier for 6 and 7K players to find some luck with their putter, hit a bunch of great wedge shots? In theory, yeah. So that's why I think Scheffler right now, I have him out, but I don't, it is almost like the Amex in the sense that and they don't have a cut. So you're guaranteeing everybody that you play in the 6K range, you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about them making the cut or not. Now, I don't know. I mean, I love the 8s this week. I think there's so many undervalued guys in the 8s and 9s, but where do you land on Scheffler this week? Because this is more of an Amex golf course. It's a really variance-packed wedge fest, random POA putting, weather, rain. It's going to be easy this year. It's going to be soft. There could be a rain out on Sunday. We'll save the weather stuff for the Discord with Steve. But what do you think about Scotty this week?
Leaning not playing him. So
of course you
shocker. No, I mean, I don't know yet, honestly. I want to see what the projections and what our value scores have. But I'll say this, this is probably closer to a week where 50-50 makes sense than it did in the past. And the reason I say that is because True Vegas, and I know it doesn't matter what he does to your lineup, True Vegas odds only having him finishing in the top 5 at -120 or an average of 55%. I went ahead and bet that. So I think I might just not play Scotty and just bet that a lot of these weeks, honestly. I don't know how everybody feels about that, but I mean, it seems kind of low for him to finish in the top 5 on any golf course.
Yeah. Put in the chat where you're leaning. It's really hard this week.
It is.
It is. It's going to take, our projections to come out, whether I want to flesh out the conversation on this podcast, but I need to think about it some more.
Definitely.
I was just looking at the Phoenix leaderboard, by the way. So of the top 15 guys, 4 of them were 7.5 or higher. Excuse me. 4 of them were 7.5 or lower. Bhatia, as Stat pointed out, Hizetsune, Zaiching Dao, who just
Marty. Somebody called out Marty in our Discord on Monday. We were all laughing at him.
Shoots 63. and Kevin Roy. So you need more than 4 out of the top 15 if you want to win with Scotty this week. This week,
Yes.
if you play Scotty, you need to hope for kind of like what you had at the Amex, which is a lot more randomness in the top 15. Should we build the lineup?
Yeah, I got some ideas, but
I think we don't put him in the lineup.
I would say no, but you know me.
I'm way more interested in Scotty than you are this week based on the argument that I just laid out about like he's anti-variance and you need to think of him separately and
You
then
do.
think of how variance separates the rest of the field. And this is a very high variance golf course. And Stat again pointed out like there's good plays in there's a golfer this week I like at 6.2. That hasn't been the case in the past. I would have needed you to be way more aggressive, Scotty, though, for us to put him in our lineup that represents the show. And I don't think you are. I think you're amenable to it. Like,
I'm amenable for sure.
I think maybe you might get there. I think maybe it ends up being each week this year I've played Scotty in 50% of my lineups, and the fence sitting hasn't worked for me. I'm definitely not going to lock him this week though either.
No.
So, yeah, I think we say no.
I think so. I mean, they're Poa greens too. Like you just saw him lose his mind on a golf course on Thursday where he plays well too.
Yeah,
but I mean, I think there's a lot.
He was so good the other 3 days.
No, I'm honestly like you can do it that way. My favorite thing that I've done today is actually using the low sixes and then like doing ultra 9K, 8K is what I've really liked because I think there's some really underpriced players, and we'll get to them in a minute. Not just in the 6K range, but I think there's underpriced players in the 9s and the 8s as well.
Tons.
So I think like why we'll get to. I mean, I'll open it up to you and say this: why would I play 0 Scotty? If like Rory's really a third of the ownership, then that's why I would play no Scotty. I would play Rory because I mean he's also course proof. He's not as good as Scotty, but like the salary savings is big. You play a salary based game, like that's big savings, and you don't have to, you can get more good players into the lineup.
Okay, so I'm down to talk about Rory. Can you pull up the DraftKings sheet? Hey Kyle. We had some great. I actually want to talk to Kyle separately about what he thought about we'll save that for the Wednesday night show. About what he thought about the variance thing that I brought up with Scotty. So at the top of the board here, you have Rory 11.5. This is once we get past Scotty Scheffler. You've Rory.
Josh is having me put it on the actual.
Yeah, that's fine. That's good. We don't need the insider sheet for now.
Got it. Okay.
Rory 11.5. Then you Fleetwood, Hovland, Siwoo Kim, Hideki, Justin Rose, Henley, Xander, Goddard, Cantlay 8.9.
I think it's a great place to like cut it off and like talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, here's my thing with Rory. Like, I don't think that what he did to the golf course last year is like a super sustainable thing to expect again with players outside of Rory. And I think if you go back and look at like how skill has been separated and how predictive distance versus accuracy has been here, what Rory did to Pebble Beach was like the anomalous red herring. It was the exception to the rule. Can Rory do it again? Yeah. It also took really good putting. That's another part of the story that I don't want to get lost in the shuffle. Like Rory gained 5 strokes putting at Pebble last year. He didn't just gain 5 strokes off the tee. I'm interested in him. It's not like a fuck yes for me.
Yeah, me either. It's ownership dependent.
Yeah, it's not like a fuck yes for me. Who I mean, between Cantlay and Fleetwood, who's like a must-have for you? Who's like a favorite play in that range?
I probably I don't know if I'll core him, but I'm definitely playing Henley. He's really underpriced.
Put him in.
Yeah. I mean,
Put him in.
honestly, my favorite build that I had today was starting Henley.
Put him in, baby.
Yeah. I
I
love
don't
it.
get the price. I don't get the
Me
price in the outright market either.
I didn't bet it either because you were saying like, "Hey, let's," because you said on the podcast a couple times, and this is good for me because I live in an offshore state. Like, I'll wait for bookmaker. I'll wait for bet online.
Oh
Like,
yeah. I'm
they're
waiting.
not.
Henley
They're
might
going
be
to give
30.
you sharp numbers.
Right. Yeah. Henley over 30 is a bet for me, and you can find that out there.
Yeah, for sure.
Did people not look at like his approach numbers from Amex? Like his course history at Pebble, he's maybe the best wedge player in the field. I don't understand why Henley isn't receiving more attention this week. I would have blanked and thought he would have been 22-1 on this golf course. He's a top 6 player in the world via data golf, and he's 9,200. He's way too cheap.
He is.
He should be I like
Why is Dustin
Hovland.
Rose more expensive than him? Why is Xander Schauffele only $100?
Well, we can talk about Xander too. I think Xander's interesting this week, even though he was disappointing last week. I'm good with Henley. Do you want to pair him with another 9K guy right now, or do you want to talk about the 8s and circle back to the 9s?
I think we can talk about the 8s and circle back to the 9s. Okay. I want to see what you think of the 8s because I think we can go. This leaves us. If this is going to leave us super unique to start, we can also go back and add somebody at the end. But I think maybe we try it a different way and we go to the 8s first.
I think there's a decent chance we end up putting someone in higher price than him, but maybe not. We'll see how much we like the 8s. I can lead off and tell you that I love Jason Day. I love Patrick Cantlay. I love Matt McNeely. I love Matt Fitzpatrick. I love Sam Burns, and I love Daniel Berger. Those guys are all in the 8K range, and that's why right now I'm not playing Scotty, because I just think this range is like robust with super good players. Like super, super good players. So, I mean, of those 5, of those 6, Day, Cantlay, McNeely, Berger, Fitz, Burns, who has your attention? Who do you like?
So in the 8s, kind of undecided on McNeely because of ownership. Very strong. He could and I'm thinking he could, which is why I like Fitz a lot, because I think he's going to be in between Thor and he's going to be in between Cantlay, and I think he's going to get a pinch.
I love Fitz this week. Plug him in.
Play too. And we find out his dad took him there for vacation as a kid. It's even better. Like, I mean,
cold, windy. Yeah.
It's like it there.
Almost led the field in tee to green and Scottsdale. Yeah. I was like really surprised. I don't know. I was wrong on Thor last week. I think a mistake that I've made is kind of like perhaps undervaluing Thor a little bit to start the season. My numbers just aren't seeming to get there on him. I very surprised to see that like Thor is lower on the betting markets than Fitz. I don't quite agree with that. Thor's never played the golf course before outside of when he was like a 19-year-old amateur in US Open conditions. I love Fitz this week. I may bet him. And, you know, we have a lot of, you know, I think Day and Mav are like potentially high-owned guys, but potentially not. Like Thor
could get some of that ownership, man.
Thor can get some of that ownership. Goddard's going to be very popular again. Like, why would you stop playing Goddard? Like, I'm even
too cheap.
I'm totally open to putting Goddard in this lineup as well if you want to circle back there. But I think Day and I bet Jason Day at 48-1. And I'm comfortable like putting Mav and Day on the sidelines right now because they could be high owned. Going back to Ben Griffin's very interesting.
I like that. Before we move on, I need to sell you on Thor.
Okay, well, I was going to ask one more thing. Do we have the cojones to go back to put Sam Burns in our lineup for 2 weeks in a row? I think it's a very good golf course for Sam Burns.
I'm playing him. His irons were good at
Me too.
Amex, which is much more of a range of proximity that he excels at. Typically, I think long term he's a very good wedge player. He's on and iron, long irons, and mid iron, on and off long irons, mid irons. But wedge players, I think he's usually pretty good. I'd have to go back and look, but I like these golf courses for him where you hit a bunch of wedges and you putt.
Thor.
So no, Burns.
Oh, Burns. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So Thor, I'm just gonna say one thing about Thor. I'm probably playing him this week. If you go back and you look, this is something that I brought up because I forgot that Morikawa fired his caddy for no reason. Right when Djokovic started carrying the bag for Thor, look at his data golf. That's when he started just taking off, and that's
Yeah.
when he actually became more of like a really well-rounded player, except for his short game. Like his irons really kind of took an uptick when he had the caddy change, and so I think he's a different player now. I'm open to him as well. It just really depends on what things look
Yeah.
like.
It's going to be a no for me, but I'm very like starting to realize that Thor has kind of been just like a numbers blind spot for me. I'm going to fade him again this week. And if he kicks my ass, then I'm just going to like put my hands up and be like, my early numbers are wrong on this guy. I don't really know. I'd have to do a much deeper dive into figuring out what's causing this because I've been a Thor guy in the past. Like I bet him a couple
All
times
fall.
this fall swing. Yeah.
You were on Thor. I mean,
Um,
we played him. I don't know if we
yeah,
bet him every
all
week.
the
We played him a
time.
lot.
But yeah, are you good with not putting him in this lineup, or are you
Yeah,
like he's your favorite play on the slate?
I think the more ISN play is either going to be Sam Burns, Jason Day, or both of them, which we
Let's put
absolutely
Burns.
can do
Let's put
anytime.
Burns in there.
Burns. Let's do Burns.
Let's put Burns in
Um,
there. Now,
really good flop lag. Like I like it.
love it, love it. Now, there's four names here. None of them I think are going to be super high owned that are really interesting to me. Ben Griffin, Ludwig, Bobby Mack, Cameron Young. Cameron Young being the number one data golf value play, which Cameron Young's been horrendous at
He's been
Pebble
bad.
Beach.
Yeah.
Horrendous. But why is he 8,100? Like,
He's
I
really
don't
cheap.
like this golf course for Cam Young. I think he's a Northeast guy. I like he hasn't had like any real success in cold weather or not like a seasoned wind player. Really up and down on Polo, like has putted really well at Riviera before, but then also like looked pretty lost on the greens at Torrey. I was like totally happy to fade Cameron Young at 9,400. Why is he 8.1? That's what's like, that's why I think you have to pause on him for a second because that's why he's the number one data golf value play. It's not because, I mean, this golf course like mitigates driving. It's not that he's like some expert course fit. I just think there's like some really silly pricing this week. Like he was 9,800 last week or even 10-2 maybe. And I mean, he
Yeah, he
finished
was expensive.
40. Like I don't know. I don't know why he's so cheap.
I don't either.
I love Daniel Berger. I think Daniel Berger is a way better course fit than Cam Young, but they're not in the
Yes,
same tier of players.
they're not.
Cam Young should be 30-1, and I bet Berger at 70. They're right next to
Yes.
each other in DFS pricing.
This is a situation where it's a 1-to-1 where like that player is just a way better course fit. Like
They
Berger's
just
a better
fucked up
course
the
fit.
pricing. Yeah,
They did.
just
They did. And so you can absolutely do that. Bobby Mack's really cheap too.
yeah.
Look at his Sony results. Like if you want
Yeah.
to see him do it on a short course, like this guy, you kind of got to just like throw out. Like I mean, he can compete anywhere. I don't know about him. We'll see.
It's such an
It's a
interesting
weird
range. Like
range. Yeah,
I think the way that we're building our lineup, I would be totally down to include one more of Ben
absolutely.
Griffin, Ludwig, Bobby Mack, Cameron Young, Berger, Knapp, Lowry. I love Morikawa, but
I mean, you want to
I
get your
don't
guy
need to.
Jason Day in there? We got money for that too.
Yeah. Do you think he's going to be really chalky this week? Not that it really matters with our construction, but yeah,
No,
I
I
love
mean
Jason
it
Day.
works. It works here, or Berger works here. Berger was the first name I wrote down this week. I never play Daniel Berger, and like he's playing. He's playing well. He's hitting his irons well. Anytime he's losing, it's around the greens, and I don't really care about that this week. So
Let's put Burger in. I bet him.
Berger, I like Berger.
How
I
much
like
money
Berger
do
this
we have
week.
left?
Lots. Like
All right.
we can go to the sixes and then get back up and get a really good high sevens player
Right.
if you wanted to.
Let's go down and talk about the sevens and sixes and
Yeah.
then circle back. Like, who are your must plays in this 7K range? It's a smaller range.
So I wrote down for the sevens. I'm not. I mean, you can always look at 7,900 Shane Lowry if nobody wants that.
Love it.
Um, that's a good one. He was great here last year. I know it's not a great course fit, but Ryan Gerard is. I don't know what they're doing. Seven. He should be in the eights, but
Love it.
what he's playing. Um, I don't want to click on Morikawa. I know people are going to click on 7,800. I don't want to do it.
I'm going to do it.
You're going to do it?
Not going to
Yeah.
advocate for him in this lineup, but I'm playing
Yeah.
Morikawa at 7,800. It's like my
So,
angle is like, I just think that this golf course is all about wedge play. That's like the
yeah.
great equalizer on this golf course, and everything else is super fucking random. And
Yes.
Morikawa continues to be like a top 5 wedge player. He is. He just is. Like
He's
that part of
good.
his game like hasn't fallen off. Short term, long term, like you can just count on him to be good inside 150 yards. And that to me is the great equalizer on this golf course. He's 7,800. He's a NorCal guy. We talked
Oh,
about
yeah.
Harding Park. Like he's been good in this climate. Like
He has.
he's been good on POA. Like he went to Cal, Berkeley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm playing Morikawa.
Morikawa, yeah. I mean, nobody can argue with paying 7,800 for him. It's about that could be the floor for him.
But again, like I am in DFS for the long game. Like I believe in a
Yeah,
long-term process, right?
definitely.
I'm not like if you're like think of this as like a get rich quick scheme, like you're probably going to be like, I'm not going to take my chance at more. You know what I mean? Like I get
Yeah,
it, but I'm not super risk averse in DFS.
yeah.
Because it's like the one game. It's the one game where it's like you have to get comfortable losing for at times months in a row, and then all it takes is one good week and
Hmm.
you're in the green based on the way I play, right?
Yeah,
So
no, and that's how you kind of have to do it.
if you're playing
Um,
double ups and stuff, that's
yeah.
not you're playing a different game. But yeah. So
Tag other people for cash lineups. It's not me.
yeah,
I don't do
not me
cash.
either. Don't do cash. Don't want to do cash.
I don't want to do
Would
cash.
rather bet top 20s, to be
Yes.
honest. So
Yeah.
who else in the
Really.
sevens?
So I like Kitayama. I'm gonna play Kitayama. Coastal course. It's not a
Data
great fit
Golf
for
really
him,
likes
but
him too.
I love Kitayama. Who else did I have an absolute check next to? Ryan Gerard. I'm open to Pendrith. He's been really frustrating, but I'm open to him.
Quite like Pendrith. Like
Nick
him.
T, I'm a fan of. I'm gonna go back to Poston. Mitchell's kind of interesting. Those are some names that I have written. Oh, Straka too. I mean, he might not fit in this lineup, but Straka's definitely a good play too.
I don't even know if we need to play any of these
We
guys.
don't. We don't, and that's kind of why I was down to like the low sevens because like you can get. I mean, we haven't even really gotten to like low seven. Who do you like in the low sevens? Because like I stopped around like Gerard, Pendrith, Taylor. Like those are the ones that I kind of had check marked.
The guys I have circled in the low sevens are Taylor Pendrith, Aaron Rye, Sam Stevens, Alex Noren.
Noren. Okay, what did you see on Noren that you liked?
Let me pull him up. Alex Noren. What are my positives for Noren? Phenomenal putter, 94th
Yep.
in putting percentile. really, really good on similar golf courses. Bermuda, Shriners, RSM.
Wasn't he good at Harding Park too?
I think so. Um, he's been okay at Pebble. Miscut 32nd, miscut 26. I don't totally view that as a positive, but the guy is like totally used to playing in colder conditions on the DP World Tour, won twice on the DP World Tour in the fall and is 7,100.
I
He's
like
not
that.
like a must play. He's
Yeah,
not. I'm not like he needs to go in this lineup. I like Rye and Pendrith more than I like Norum, but I don't know if we even need to play any of these guys. I mean, is there any must plays for you in the sixes? Because there's a couple guys I quite like in the sixes. I like Wyndham Clark too. I should have mentioned that.
you can play Wyndham here too.
Yeah.
Um, I do have quite a number of names checked in the sixes, and I think three. Here are my three favorites in the sixes:
Okay.
Denny
If,
McCarthy.
see if there's any overlap. That's my favorite guy in the sixes.
Denny is great
Hmm.
this week, I think. Rico, Rico might be we might be
I don't know.
you know
I don't, I don't I don't think
Groundhog
it's
Day again.
I don't think it's a Rico Cars. I just
Um,
I don't know. You know what? Rishi threw him out last week, and I was like,
I
huh. And then he
now
played
my
well.
signals are up.
He played well last week. He was good.
My third favorite down here is Michael Kim,
Okay. He's I
but I
haven't
don't think we need Michael Kim. I think we can do Denny, and we can get a really good player that you like still
right. Let's
in this
plug
high
in Denny.
sevens,
Yeah, let's plug in Denny. Denny in that lineup leaves us how much cash?
9,300.
Sweet. Right off the top, I'm like, should we run it back with Goddard up almost?
I mean, Xander's right there, Gotterup's right there, Cantlay, your boy Cantlay's right there,
Okay.
and we could upgrade somebody, but we don't have to.
Can we talk about the difference between Goddard and Xander this week? Because
Yeah, let's do that.
it's a really interesting question in DFS because one guy represents like long-term form, double major championship
Yes,
winner, finished top 5 here at a US Open, but hasn't been good here in signatures. Um, versus the hottest golfer on the planet right now, not named Scotty Scheffler, who's won twice in his last 3 starts, won a Scottish Open in colder, windy conditions, has an extremely low ball flight, and it still doesn't feel like you're buying him at the top of the market. Like,
I don't think it is.
right,
I
like
think he's better than this.
he's cheaper than Siwoo. I don't think he's going to win 3 times in 4 starts. I don't. But
He's
him
not
versus
gonna go away if he's in the lead.
yeah, and like I didn't really think he was going to win Phoenix either. So,
Yeah,
um,
this is a good lineup to play the good lineup construction to play a very chalky Chris Gotterup. What I expect him to be popular.
Xander's going to be lower owned.
He is going to be lower owned, and you can do
Not
that too.
not that ownership is going to matter the way we're playing. I think.
Xander and
Um,
no cuts is incredible.
yeah, I mean Xander, I tracked really closely last week because there was a long period of time where it looked like he was going to miss the cut.
Yeah,
And I thought of Xander. I played Xander last week. That was pretty stupid compared to Hideki retrospectively. Um, he looked a couple of details off. And
yeah,
I think that he kind of had a really random mini nuke on Sunday. Played really well on Sunday.
yep.
That's encouraging to me. And yeah, Connor, we are putting Sam Burns right back in because we hate ourselves. We
Yeah.
honestly with this lineup could swap Cam Young for Burns.
We could, if you would prefer to do that. That is totally viable. I think if you want to take data, because I think data golf probably makes them their number one play, not only for the distance. I don't believe the distance narrative. First of all, that's going to go around this week. I think Rory's different. I think he's a unicorn.
Yeah,
Um,
agreed.
but if if you want to trust the data golf stuff, he's a pretty good wedge player too. He's better with his and I think you brought that up on the Tory show where you're like,
Yeah.
he's better with his wedges than he is with, long irons and mid irons. And so that's if wedge play is all we care about, he's really underpriced. So I think that's fine. Like, to do either one, you could take Berger out or Burns, whichever your least favorite of the two is, and do that. Because I think that, you know, yeah, we have the extra money, and if we're sold on, I mean, again, I haven't given you enough time to talk about Cantlay because you like him.
Cantley's a sick play this week.
He's going to be squeezed. I think that McNeely and Goddard soak up all his ownership. So I do think he's a good low in DraftKings play. I can't tell my wife if I play him though. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Honestly, same. It's really funny though. Natalie's. Can you guess who Natalie's least favorite player on tour is? Outside of David Skins,
I was going to say it's David Skins, but God, her least favorite on tour.
It's Xander.
Really? Okay.
She thinks Xander's a total fucking loser.
Wow. Okay.
And was making fun of him all week. I don't know if you remember this. On Thursday afternoon, he chipped into the water on 17, like had all the green to work with in the world. I played him last week and I had to sweat him to make the cut. But yeah, anyway, I think people are angry that we have Burns in here.
We can take Burns out. This is a community thing.
You want to do Cam Young and Goddard up?
We can do that. We'll do instead of Burns. So we'll do Cam Young and Goddard up. And I think that I think it's a good lineup. I think
it's a really good lineup.
Yeah, and you could take this shell and you could make it something else. I mean, I'll just end the show or just finish by saying I think Hoagie's playable. I think Cauley's playable. I think Griot's playable. Like, it really does. You look at the leaderboards on these courses, like, Malnati was a T10 before it was a signature event. Rando guys can show up here.
I think it
levels the playing field.
Hoagie at Pebble, Kyle had him.
Yeah,
I think it's.
You did too. I thought.
Yeah, we all had him. Brian had him. BK, that is. Did you? Yeah, I mean, Hoagie was a sick win. That felt so much easier back then.
I was with Steve that week, and I had Seamus Power, who shot a high round on the easiest course, and I had Spieth after that. So that was
this is a sick lineup. It has a little bit of everything. Like, it has like some more traditional course fits that we think are, in Berger and Henley and Fitz.
And Denny. Denny's a really good course fit here.
Yeah, Denny. And then it has kind of like, these guys are underpriced. It has like a little bit of both. Like, it's not taking one specific angle. It's taking a bit of everything. Thank you, Kyle. I'm pretty happy with it.
I like it.
I'm going to enter. You said you're going to enter it in a satellite. I don't pay attention.
I'll enter a satellite.
Yeah, no, I should.
We'll talk. I might do an article this week about satellites for people if they want to hear it. I'll write something.
Can you just tell me which ones to put my lineups in?
Yes, I will tell you. Just give me a budget and I'll tell you, because I mean, again, we didn't talk about this, but like, satellites are how I've hit really large. Like, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Satellites are the way to go.
Basically, the concept of them is, right, you're basically qualifying at a lower price point to play in a higher price point contest, and you can win a ticket into a higher price point contest that is worth more money that you don't actually have to pay if you win.
Correct.
Right.
And the principle too of doing it, and there's players in here to talk about this, they'll overlay. So like, it's 10-person contest and only be 8 people filled. So like, your ticket price immediately after it closes, even if you lose, your ticket price is like $10 to $20 higher from what the entry fee is, because they're still going to guarantee the ticket even though there's only 8 out of 10 slots filled.
Interesting.
So that's why, like, you pick a single entry you really like, and then you're ready 5 minutes before lock, and then you go in and you find the ones that aren't going to fill, and you just, hey, if there's an extra spot that's not going to fill, I'm going to pick up a little bit of EV on that. So that's something I think I'll do an article for it. I'll talk about maybe what I've done in the recent memory with satellites for me.
Yeah, so put it in a satellite. I'll put it in the I'll put it in the single entry.
Absolutely.
And we'll be on our way.
Yes, great lineup.
Pleasure as always.
Absolutely.
What movie did I watch recently? I watched The Secret Agent because it was nominated for an Oscar. Really tough set. Like
Really
you
long,
really,
right?
it's 2 hours and 40 minutes. I try and see everything, especially
Yeah.
any movie that's nominated for an Oscar. It's well made. The actor, Wagner Mora, is good. I don't think he like gave the performance that Timmy or Leo did, but he's nominated, or Michael B. Jordan for that matter, in Sinners. He's nominated for Best Actor. Um, you really have to commit. Like you have to sit
Yeah.
there. There's a lot of subtitle movies that I think get a bad rap because they have subtitles and
Definitely.
they're really engaging. Like, if you watch Parasite, you forget that that has subtitles 5 minutes in because you're
Yep.
just so locked in. You,
Absolutely.
you really have to lock in to Secret Agent, and so I don't know if I would say I recommend that movie.
Yeah, I didn't see that one yet.
If
I
you
think
care about
tomorrow
movies,
I should.
watch it. If you
I
care
should.
about movies, watch it because maybe you have a different experience than me. It's about political turmoil in
In
Brazil.
Brazil. Yeah.
And to
Yeah.
be completely frank with you, it's not a subject I'm super well versed in or have a
Yeah.
ton of outside external interest in.
Can't
So,
say I'm the same, but you know. I
sorry about
like
that,
watching the
Kiner.
other ones. So
We'll uh, DM me on Twitter, or if you have Discord, DM me and I'll with your email and I'll forward that to our support team and make sure you get squared away so you can be in the Discord and stuff. But yeah, I also watched Testament of Anne Lee.
did you love it? No.
um,
Fascinating.
Testament, I didn't like it as much as Rob. Rob's
Yeah.
like Testament of Anne Lee is a misunderstood masterpiece. It's fine. Like
Yeah.
did you see it?
I didn't yet. I don't think it came out around. I think honestly, for a couple of these, I'm just gonna do streaming when they come out
Yeah,
and just pay for it, just because I'm around the house doing this kind of stuff. And I watch movies all the time, but like no other choice. I would have had to drive like 2.5 hours
yeah.
today to see it. So I'm not doing that.
I didn't see no
So I'll
other
just wait.
choice in theaters.
Yeah.
We're in Testament of Anne Lee, and about 7 minutes into the movie, Natalie shows me her screen with a notes app. I'm down to leave if you are. It's a 2.5 hour
That's
long movie.
fantastic.
And I
That's
was
so
like,
funny.
no, we gotta stay. And so every 10 minutes for like the rest of the movie, she would just look at me and be like, why didn't we leave? And maybe that colored my perception of the movie. Rob is smarter on movies than me and more of a film buff. And he's like, this is a masterpiece. So maybe I missed something. It's fine. Like it's about, are you familiar with the shaker movement?
A little bit, not a ton,
So
honestly.
they
But
basically believe that you have to abstain from sexual intercourse to be
right.
closest to God.
And this is the woman
That's what
who's
the
in a
movie's
relationship
about.
with Brady Corbett, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
The director Mona Fassfeld is married to the guy who directed The Brutalist,
Yes.
uh, which I liked a lot.
Me too. It's a good movie. It's
It's
very
a good
long,
movie.
but it's good.
Brady Corbet co-wrote this movie, and yeah, it's basically a movie. Amanda Seyfried gives a phenomenal performance. It's basically a movie about a group of people in the 1700s that decided that to be closer to God, they had to not have sex anymore. So that's what the subject matter is. Your mileage may vary on that subject matter.
Exactly.
Certainly not for everyone. Anyway, that's it from us.
Yeah, that's it for my I didn't see anything all that crazy, just some movies at home, but I'll talk about them in the chat. It's a burgeoning movie chat. I'll say that. It's a great time in there.
We have an amazing movie chat in the Discord. Yeah,
We
it's
do.
really good. If you like talking about movies and TV, join
Absolutely.
ISN. They're better. It's better than our golf picks,
I
probably.
am
This
gonna
is
be caught
our
up on
movie
industry by
analysis.
next week because I do wanna talk industry at some point.
So good.
I know. I'm, like,
So good.
halfway through episode 2, and I'm just like, "This is insane already." So
Oh, it's so good. I could
I
do.
hear the Rishi episode is quite something. So we'll probably
Oh,
get to that one tonight.
it's so good.
Yeah.
All right. Later, Brian. Great stuff,
Take it
buddy.
easy.
And we'll talk next week for Riviera.
Yeah, let's do it.